Hello and welcome to this week's content tea party. Okay, so it looks like we're going to stay live. Sorry about the delay. It looks like there was something wrong with the software. I had to restart my computer after trying to go live about 4 times, but here we are today with the summer edition of the content tea party. Let me know if you can hear me well. If you're watching the replay, thank you very much for watching. And we have some great things for you today, especially the question, a very common question today, which I have specifically shortened for you. I have received it recently from Paula. I hope Paula manages to join us today so she can ask further questions to clarify her question. I'm also going to talk about a great tool, but before we start, as usual, for those of you who don't know me, I am Stephanie Futeni. I'm a content marketing strategist and traffic growth coach, and I help my clients grow the traffic to their website so that they can have more inquiries and requests for their services and especially coaching and courses. So, let's kick off with some social media news today. There's been a couple of things that I really wanted to share with you. Um, the first thing is took me really by surprise, and it looks like Facebook is actually considering pulling political ads before the US campaign. And of course, this is a big thing on social media for those of you who followed the Cambridge Analytica case, where Mark Zuckerberg was being questioned, about all this data that was passed on to a third-party company to help people get elected. So it looks like they want to try and avoid a retake of the same scenario, and they're going to look probably at a complete political ad blackout, which would be a good step because they can make sure that no manipulation happens. So that's great. We all know advertising is very powerful, especially if you use Facebook ads yourself, if you blog, if you're creating content online. You know the power of persuasion. So when it comes to politics, I think this is a great step in the right direction. Another thing that is doing the rounds at the moment, officially published on July 8th. Let me check out the website. Yes, I found this on a website called Digital Trends, which is a great website. They don't always have sort of the latest news, but they also have some evergreen content, so it's a nice place to go and browse. But what they're saying is that Twitter has mentioned that they will be creating a subscription-based platform for job listings. So this kind of takes it a little bit closer to LinkedIn. I mean, Twitter and LinkedIn, completely different creatures, completely different platforms. However, very similar target audience. I find that it has a very similar demographic. So the fact that they're looking at job listings, I think, is really not off the mark. It's really something that could work for them. And I really love how minimalist Twitter is. So I really look forward to anything they're putting together. I love the ease of use of Twitter. I've used it for a very long time. And although it's never been my main platform, I've always kept using it because it's just so easy to add to your other platforms. Okay, so I'm going to go back into the software and fish out Paula's question now. If you have questions, feel free to pop them in. Let me know you're here by putting a comment so that I can see you. And let's dive right in and answer Paula's questions. So I have shortened this a little bit to make it easier to show. So Paula, if you don't recognize the question, it's just a little bit different. But it's, as you can see, it's got kind of the same gist. So what is the step-by-step process you use to plan an effective coaching website? So Paula's in the process of planning her second coaching website because she has been coaching for some time. And she would like to really do it the right way second time round. Now, of course, if you already have a website, this can be useful to you because maybe you can go back and, maybe tweak those things that you haven't thought out, perhaps as well as you would have liked to in the very beginning. So I've put together just a few steps so that you can find out, even if your website is already live, how to tweak it a little bit. And as I always say, a website is never finished because it's going to evolve, it's going to grow with your business. And if your business is anything like mine, every quarter or at least every 6 months, there's something new happening. And, the website, of course, has to reflect that. So let's take a look. So the first thing you need to do before you start planning your website is to get clear about your ideal client. I know if you've been in business, this is really obvious. If you're starting out, this may actually be the most difficult part of anything you're going to do before you actually create your website. But if you're not new, this should be quite easy, but it's very important that you go through the process. So even if you think, yeah, I've been working with the same people for so long, I really, really know them, go through a process of documenting this. Sit down and at least write a little description or write a bullet list of your ideal client. What's their age? Where do they hang around online? What difficulties do they have, which you resolve? What struggles do they come to you with? Just write a little bit of a clear picture. What you need to do is you need to imagine that this is going to be a brief for somebody else, and it well could be if you're not developing your own site. But if you are doing it yourself, which is extremely common with coaches, because of course we really know our audience, we really know our people, and we deal with them on a very intimate one-to-one level. So most of the time we do know what we want. So if you are technical enough to create your own site, you may very well go ahead and do it in WordPress. However, before you do anything, get clear about your ideal client. Okay, the second step is, so once you have a clear picture, and you've picked your ideal client. Now, you may have been very tempted to pick more than one, and that's perfectly fine. However, I would say ideally pick only one or two for a website, because it becomes really difficult to have any kind of online content that targets more than one ideal client. So try not to have too many on the same site. The next step is to do your keyword research. And I know we haven't gone to the building yet. Usually people rush to building the website because they're so excited to see their new pictures online, and they're really eager to put everything out there. But a bit of preparation can really save you a lot of headaches later, and it can make a difference between a website that's just sitting there and a website that is active and getting you clients. Okay, so the next step is to do your keyword research. You need to find keywords that your ideal client is typing into Google to find the kind of services that you sell. It's very important that you're very clear about which ones these are, and very likely they're not going to be industry terms. They're going to be words that your ideal client actually uses when they are engaging with you. So make sure that you find the keywords that they're actually typing into Google when they need to buy your service. But not necessarily only buy, because of course, as you will see later, they may not be ready to buy yet. They may just be looking for content. And of course, you want content about their struggles on your website. So this is another area where your keyword research is going to be so, so important. Okay, so the next one is write the copy. So once you have the keywords and you know your ideal client, you're not ready to build a website, you are ready to write your copy. Your copy, also known as text. I get asked this question a lot. Actually, a lot of my clients ask me what the word copy means. So don't feel bad if you don't know what the word copy actually means, because usually it's something used in the industry. If some of you may not know, actually, I have had an agency with my husband for since 2008. So I might use some industry terms every now and then. Okay, so we have a question from Maria. Let's pause a little bit. Okay, so hi, first of all, hi Maria, thank you for joining. And how do you see which keywords are rating better? Okay, so you would need to use a keyword tool. Usually you have keyword research tools, and I can share one with you after the live. I can pop the link into the under this video. But there are many tools that you can use, and basically you just need a tool that's going to show you which keywords have traffic and which ones don't. The main mistake that I see happens a lot on websites is that some people use keywords that are very common in their industry, but they do not have traffic. So, if you're using a keyword that doesn't have traffic, you're losing a big opportunity, because your blog post could make it to the first page of Google for that keyword, but nobody's looking for it. So, it is really, really, you'd be leaving a lot of money on the table if you don't pick the right keywords. So that's definitely very important. Okay, so the next point is source the look. So at this stage, once you have your keywords and then you have your copy, so your copy should be at least the text for the main pages. You're going to have at least a contact us page. The about page is very important. It's going to be the most visited page on your site. And then, of course, you want a page for every service. A page for every service, because ideally every service that you offer or every coaching package should ideally be tweaked and optimized for a different keyword. So if you have different pages, it kind of works better. You may want to also test. So some people prefer to put all their products and services on one page, and some people prefer to keep them separate. For keywords, if you're going to optimize them, it's always better to keep separate pages. Okay, so the next thing we said is to source the look. So you have images, photo shoots, buttons, designs, and so on. So now you want to start thinking about, okay, so I know how long my text is. So you have written your text, and this is why I like to write the copy before, because I don't want my copy to be limited by the design of my website, because I might need to write more to persuade my client, or I might need to write longer blog posts because I want them to rank. So I don't want a website that has, it's happened to me before where I've been hired to write the copy for a website, and, it's very minimalist, and you've got like 100 or 200 words on each page. And I'm like, we cannot SEO this. It's just not going to work. So this is what we want to try and avoid. Once we have the copy, now we start thinking about the design. And the first thing you want to do is you want to see, if you already have a logo and you already have a brand, this should be a very easy step. But you want to start looking at what images you have that you want to use. You may want to use image library. You may want to just take pictures of your office and of yourself. Maybe a professional photo shoot. It always makes the website feel more exciting, especially for yourself to launch. And even button designs. What kind of buttons do you want to use? This is really going to help you if you work with a third-party designer. So you can give them, a set of assets to work with, and also maybe a set of colors, as well as your logo if you already have one. So that would definitely be the next step. After that, you can go ahead and hire a designer, or if you're going to do it yourself, just keep it simple, because it's very easy to do, especially if you do it in WordPress. So at this stage, you can go one of two ways. If you hire a designer, you can just get them to design your homepage, and you can actually build your own website yourself. So if you do it in WordPress or you're doing it in Wix, you can still get someone to design the layout of the template, and then, get them to give you the images, and your website will look really professional, even if you do it yourself. You can skip the designer if you don't have a budget for that. That's perfectly fine. And what you can do in this case is keep it simple. So try to keep your colors very neutral, and then maybe just pick one highlight color, which you're going to make your color. And that will make it a very good first step to start building your brand for the future. Again, if you're designing it yourself and you're not a designer, don't agonize over the details. Just try to keep it as simple as possible and as easy to navigate as much as you can. Okay, so the next step then is, of course, to create your blog and marketing asset repository. Okay, that's a very long, heavy word. And all it means is you need a place where you're going to keep all the resources that you're going to create for your online marketing. So if you have a lead magnet, you want a place for it, maybe in a sidebar or as a pop-up on your website, near your blog, ideally. if you blog, which you definitely should, because if you don't blog, you have a very, very small chance of ranking in Google and other search engines. So ideally, if you're a coach, a consultant, or any other person that needs to be perceived as an expert, there is nothing stronger than the golden expert badge of having a popular blog, or even better, having a blog that actually comes up in the results for your industry terms in the first page of Google. So you definitely want to make sure that you get there. Now, of course, you will have other assets as part of your marketing, but you want the written word to always be there. So whether you start off with a video and then turn it into a blog post, or you start off as a blog post and then use it as a script for a video, then you still want to make sure that you put those articles in the blog so that you can get them ranked, because that's what's going to give you free visibility in Google, and it gives you that extra expert status. If people go into Google and punch in, content marketing strategist, and they find me, well, of course, those people have no problem coming to my website and buying from me, because I have, Google has told them that they trust me. So I of course, have already a high status in the way they perceive me. And of course, then they go to the blog, they read high quality content, and they already know very much that they're dealing with someone who can give them the service that they're looking for. And this is exactly the impression you want to give. So you want to have an all round, feeling of quality on the site. Simplicity is great as long as the content has great quality. And then, you want to make sure that as much as possible you try to rank. Now, I have called it also a marketing asset repository, because you want to also put your videos there. You also want to put your podcasts on your website. Everything you create should also go on your site, because it just gives you that little bit of extra juice to be able to rank. Especially also if you put your videos on YouTube and then you embed them on your site and link back to your pages, then that's a little bit of extra SEO that other people cannot have if they don't do videos and blogs. So it's going to give you that little bit of an extra edge. So you want to make sure that you have a blog or a marketing assets repository on your website where you put all the things that you create and put out there, because on social media they're going to disappear, and you want to make sure you get long-term benefit from them, because of course it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort to create online content. So you want to make sure you use that and repurpose it as much as possible. What you also want to do is you want Google signals for SEO. So you want Google and other search engines to keep coming to your website as often as possible. And every time you publish something on your site, you get what we call a Google signal. So Google comes and they index, another page, another resource that you've put on your page, and they start seeing, the amount of quality content you're putting out there, which in turn is going to give your website a higher page rank and a higher quality rank, so that then everything else has a higher chance of ranking. So, your blog is very, very important, because it's going to give people, it's going to give search engines, not people, those signals to keep coming back for more content. And finally, this is something that's really important. And this is why I said before, try not to pick more than one ideal client, because you're going to need to pick one goal. Yes, one goal. Now, the one goal doesn't need to be specifically, well, it needs to be connected to how you want your business to grow, but you're going to have to pick. It cannot be all your marketing goals. So for instance, the one goal you pick could be, I want to get people on a discovery call, or I want people to buy this mini course. I want people to jump on my email list. Okay, in fact, I started off with the first year of my new website with the goal of getting people to jump on my list. I am now changing that goal, and I am kind of redoing certain things in my website. And it's very important that you pick that one goal, because then everything you do is going to go towards it. So let's say you pick the goal of growing your email list. Then you know exactly that when people come on your site, the first thing they have to see is the registration to your freebie. You also want to make it available in the footer. You want to make it available in the sidebar in your blog. You want to make it everywhere. Even when people try to leave the site, you could make it a pop-up. So you want people to jump on your list. You've got to make sure that there are as many places as possible where they can jump on your list. Of course, you can create different freebies as well if you have different ideal clients. But I would consider that step 2. Step 1 would be to have one goal, one ideal client, and tweak everything to work on that. And this is going to make it very much easier, because if you're creating content like social media posts, if you're creating maybe webinars, online videos, blog posts, then you know what your call to action needs to be, because you have picked your goal for the website. And myself, I like to have different goals for every quarter, because there are quarters when I launch and there are quarters where I don't. So of course, when I launch, I am kind of leaving the goal of my website as a second priority. And the rest of the year, the main goal of my website is going to be my main goal for the quarter. So think about it clearly. And once you have this one goal, it will be really easy for you. You can go to each page on your site and think, okay, how am I going to get people to do this one action, which is going to help me achieve this one goal? And it's going to make everything so much easier. Okay, so the next thing is going to be like create your lead magnet funnels. So you need to decide what happens when people jump on your list. Do they get an email sequence? How do you send the PDF? Do you invite them to jump on a call if maybe that is your one goal? So what happens when they download your freebie? So you need to be very clear about that as well. And finally, last but not least, I would have liked to mention this first, but I know that if you're building a WordPress site, which I highly recommend to have your own WordPress site build, it's going to be hard to do this in the beginning. So at this stage, then you have to go and you install your reporting tool. And the reporting tools I like to use most, my top 2, I have quite a few, but the top 2 I would say would be Google Analytics and Hotjar. Google Analytics is going to show you the different places your traffic comes from, so you can see how your traffic is growing. It also has the console in there that allows you to actually see which of your pages are ranking and bringing traffic, which is a very, very important piece of information to know. And then there is Hotjar, which is a tool I absolutely adore. And I'm going to actually walk you through it today, and I'm going to show you exactly why I love it. And what this tool does is it actually shows you how people are behaving on our website. And when you've had it out there maybe for a month or 2, you can start recording people and you can actually see how people are behaving on your site. So let's have a good look at how this works out. Okay, so this is Hotjar. And as you can see, one of the most important tools is that it's actually showing me a heat map. And the heat map is showing me where people click the most. So you can see the orange sections, the orange dots. That is where people click the most. And like I said, it's always the About Us page. Every website's going to work out like this. You can see that people have also been clicking on my freebie, and also on the blog. It is one of the biggest hotspots. There are some secondary pages, the contact us and the client. As you can see, the work with me menu is not something a lot of people like to click on. So I might actually consider changing the name on that one. I might call it Started Here or something like that. Okay, so it shows you the map, and it shows you the map all the way down. So you can actually see, look, people have clicked on some blogs here. And people here seem to have more interest in my Done With You content strategy session than in the other sections. So they're more interested in this. Okay, there seems to be more or less equal interest in all the social media platforms apart from Facebook, which is more popular. So I know the kind of people I'm attracting with my keywords have more interest in Facebook. And you can see it right here again. There's more people there. Okay. So I can see, as you can see, where people are clicking, and I can take decisions about that. Now, I am on the free version of Hotjar, and what it does is I can just tell it to start recording the visits, So it's not always on. I will go through phases where I will tell it to record, say, the next 300 or the next 100 visits. And the great thing is that it also records a nice little video of how people are behaving on your site. So if I, let's see if I can play this video, not from the beginning because there isn't that much in the beginning. Um, I love to sit down. Actually, sometimes I'll just have a nice, a little bit of free time. I will set Hotjar to record, say, 100 recordings of the next 100 visitors, and then I'll just sit down with a nice cup of tea and watch the recordings one by one. And it's great because it's showing me where people are clicking. And as you can see, it's showing me an actual video recording of which video categories they're actually, which blog categories they're actually clicking on, and where they're thinking. You can see it's amazing to see that people think with their mouse, and you can see where they move the mouse while they're thinking. And it's also really quite exciting to see, okay, so this person then goes to the contact us page and fills in the form, and you can see the different categories. It also gives me validation, because as I have noticed, for instance, that a lot of people that visit my website click on all three categories in my blog, which implies that all three of them are of interest to them, which is great. Oh, hi, Sayali. Yes, yes. Hotjar is absolutely great. Thank you very much for joining us. Please do let me know if I'm saying your name right, because I keep wondering if I'm saying it correctly. Excellent. So as you can see from the video, it can keep going all the way through. Of course, some of the visits can be a few minutes long. Like this visit is 25 minutes long, so there's a lot to watch. But most of your website visits are going to be between the 1 minute and the 5 minute mark. So they will be easy to see. So once the recording finishes, it will just roll on to the next one. So you can literally sit there and you can just see all these people. And then you start noticing the patterns. I find that the videos are just exceptionally useful because there is no other piece of tool. There's no other tool really, even the heat maps, they do give you some information, but to watch the way people are navigating and noticing the patterns yourself, you can really get ideas quickly as to what to move where and what to make more visible, what to change. For instance, from the videos, I found out that the way my video is embedded in my speaker page is actually not showing up. Okay, so it's pronounced Sally, is that right? Sally. Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'm glad you don't mind so much. Um, Excellent. So let me know if you have further questions. I really hope you have enjoyed getting to know this tool as well. Actually, one very simple way to install it, if you have a WordPress site, they have a free plugin. So you would just go to hotjar.com, you register, and you get a free account. You can then upgrade later as your traffic grows. Um, I think it's free until you start getting about 10,000 hits a month. I'm not sure if it's a month or per week, but I leave that to you to check. But anyway, you can start off, when you're starting off, you just install the plugin for free. And of course, you can upgrade for many more features. I have used the pro version before, but with my new website, for now, I don't need to, because of course, I'm rebuilding a lot of things this year with the new site. But that's all it takes. One little plugin, you activate it, and then it will start picking up all this lovely information from your site. You can also set it up if you have a landing page, maybe on another tool, on something like MailChimp or MailerLite, where you're trying to sell a course and it's a sales page. You can actually set Hotjar to look at the recordings of that particular page as well. And you can, of course, tell it when to record it, so you can record it exactly before you start launching, so that at the end of the launch, you can actually see how people have been interacting and improve next time. So it's such an amazing tool. I highly recommend it. And of course, first time round, it's not going to cost you anything. Okay, so if you have any more questions, feel free to pop them in now. I'm going to pop back to the comments and have a look at what what's in the comments already, and I'll have a good look at that. Okay, so Maria was asking, how do I see the rating of my keywords which I have used? Okay, so what Maria's saying, so before we spoke about keywords, we said you need to pick keywords that actually rank, that actually have traffic. Now, Maria asked a further question about that, and what she said is, how do I know, how do I see the rating of my keywords which I used? Okay, so I'm going to need a little bit of clarification. What I think you need, the way I understand this, Maria, is how do you know if you have used the right keywords in the past, or do you mean if how do you know which of those keywords are actually ranking? I can actually answer both questions. So you know that you've got the right keywords because obviously they have traffic, and you can use a keyword tool like Mongoose, which is the one I use. I will give you the actual link. You can actually use that tool to find out if there is actually traffic. Um, to find out which of those keywords you're actually ranking for, you would need to install the Google Search Console, which is a free tool. All you would need to do is go to Google Search Console. Don't just type in Google Console because you will find another Google tool. It's something different. Google Search Console will give you a little part of Google Analytics that actually shows you how each of your page ranks. And it also gives you a tab where you can find the keywords that those pages are ranking for. I'm not set up to show you the example right now, but I'm going to try and pop in and see if I can find it, because I think this is a very interesting one for quite a lot of us. You can see how all your pages rank in this, and you can also see how things work out. Okay, so let's have a look. It's a little bit okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so let's look at the last. Okay, so let's see if I can find an example. I have one right here. Let's see if I can show you the screen. So what I'm trying to do here is I have clicked on, let me see if I can remove a filter. So let's see if I can pick a keyword, let's say content marketing for coaches, which has had 8 clicks out of 293 impressions. So this is the keyword that I'm actually ranking for. It's called queries, and it also shows me all the pages that are coming up for that particular keyword. Now, of course, not all the pages would normally remain. Let me also show you how you can find this. So you go to Google and you put in Google Search Console, and this is the right page. And it's going to give you start now. And if you're not registered, but you have a Gmail account, it's going to guide you through how to register for it. It will then ask you to upload a file to your website. So you upload a file and it will get verified, and then you'll start seeing all the different pages that are ranking. So Google Analytics is going to give you all the traffic. Google Search Console is going to show you how each page is ranking. And it's also going to give you in the queries section, that is the keyword that you're ranking for. Now, of course, sometimes you have really good keywords, but Google decides not to rank you first for that particular page. And of course, SEO is a little bit complex, so we can't really go into that right now. But I thought I would answer that question because I know that Maria is working really hard on improving her website right now. Excellent. So thank you so much for joining me. I can't see any further questions, so I really hope I haven't missed any of them. And I really look forward to having you join me again next week. It's moved now to Tuesday at 6 p.m. because we're on the summertime. As you can see, I'm a little bit more summery myself as well, a little bit more relaxed than usual. And of course, come along even if you're out of the house. Why not? And I really look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.